Hi, boys and girls. Happy Tuesday. I hope that you had a wonderful Memorial weekend. We are back to school now. I hope you enjoyed the story from last week. This week, you got to listen to it. I said happy Tuesday. I mean happy Wednesday because you'll be listening to this on Wednesday. So correction there. You guys are going to be reading Fireflies by Julie Briscoe this week. You should have listened to it yesterday. It's a quick little story about a little boy who is so excited to catch fireflies, and he goes out and catches fireflies. And then there's kind of a lesson in the story. We know that sometimes stories have lessons. And then today, we are going to be talking a little bit about an author's purpose. So we know an author is someone that writes a story, and most of the time when an author goes to write a story, they have a reason behind it. They have a purpose. Today, in the links provided, you have some graphic organizers that you do not have to print, but I just left them there that you could kind of look at. So we're going to talk about this today, author's purpose. So we know that authors write for one of three reasons, and we can use an example of pie to help remember those reasons. We know that an author writes to persuade their reader. So for instance, if I was reading a story telling me that chocolate chip cookies are the best cookies ever, we would know that that author is trying to persuade the reader that chocolate chip cookies are great, okay? We also know that an author could decide that they are going to write to inform you. So I would say a lot of nonfiction books are used to inform the reader, right? It tells us about something. It's teaching us a lesson about something. And then lastly, we know that some stories are written, authors write them just for entertainment purposes. It takes us on a journey. And I could say that almost all books I'm going to say lots of books could have an entertain piece, right? While we read, we want to be entertained. So today, when you go to explain what the author's purpose is, you might be able to tell me it is for entertainment and give me a reason. And you might also say it's another purpose, okay? Sometimes they use more than one purpose to write the story. So this is what I mean when you think about a piece of pie, right? They could persuade, they could inform, or they could entertain. Okay? And then I'm going to kind of go through what each of these mean. Okay? So when the author is trying to persuade the reader, the author is trying to convince you of something. So we want to think of that word like persuade, kind of like persuasive writing. The author is trying to persuade you to do something. So, for instance, don't let the pigeon drive the bus. The author's trying to tell us, hey, don't let that pigeon drive the bus. They're persuading us of something, okay? The next one is inform. The author is teaching you about something. So they're teaching you, last week you listened to a book about sharks, a nonfiction book about sharks. They were teaching you about sharks, okay? They were teaching you all about sharks. You were learning, they were informing you about those sort of things, okay? And then lastly, sometimes authors simply just write for entertainment. The author is telling you a story and trying to make you laugh. So for instance, that book I mentioned earlier, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, it might be used to persuade and it might be used to entertain because it's awfully funny, okay? So after you've listened to Fireflies, you have a little comprehension check. And it kind of looks like this, or it does look like this. And the directions tell you, up here it says, write and draw to answer the questions as thoroughly as possible. What is the author's purpose in Fireflies? Explain your answer. So I want you guys, as almost third graders, to make sure you're writing in complete sentences. So restate, the author is trying to what? So we think of those three things, and I'm going to pull up this sheet of pie. Which of those is the author trying to do? Let's think about persuade. Is the author trying to convince us of something? Nah, not really. So I could say, nope, it's not trying to. Was the author trying to entertain us? Well, is the author telling us a story? Yeah, it was telling us a story. I know he was telling us a story. It was telling us a story about a little boy who went out to catch fireflies. Now let's think about inform. Inform means he's trying to teach us about something. Well, did the little boy teach us about fireflies? Let's think. He went and got a jar, he poked holes in the jar, he caught his fireflies. Then, when he got home, what ended up happening to those fireflies? Were they happy to be in that jar? No. So he went to his window and he let them loose. So you could argue that this author was trying to entertain us and inform us because it was telling us a story, an enjoyable story about a little boy who learned that, or who loved to catch fireflies, but when he brought them home, the fireflies didn't enjoy being inside of the mason jar, so he had to let them go. Okay, so that's how you'd answer that first question. The second one says, write a sentence in which you show how the character was excited without us without him telling us, I'm excited. So you can do that. A character can tell you a lot about him or her without coming out and directly saying it. We know that how a character is feeling based on their emotions, right? So like if I was sitting here and I'm jumping for joy, okay, that might show that I'm excited, right? Those actions might show that I'm excited. I'm not coming out and saying, I'm so excited, but you can tell from how I'm responding, things I'm doing, that I'm excited. You would also know that I'd be upset if I was doing what? If I was crying, right? Crying would be an indicator that I'm upset. I don't have to come out and say it, but my actions show that I was sad. So I want you to go, if you have to go back, that video or that read aloud is only 5 minutes, so you can go back and look. And then I want you to write on there, explain in words how the character shows he's excited without coming out and directly saying it. Then you would draw a picture in this box and a picture in this box, and then if your teacher's using Seesaw, I don't know if your teacher's using Google Classroom, if your teacher's using Flipgrid, we love to see your work, so you could post it on either one of those platforms. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.